Hey everyone, Sergeant Argerwright here. And today we're going to react to the third part of this wonderful series by Epic History TV. A very well-regarded YouTube channel. You know, you'll really seem to enjoy my other Napoleon videos, so yeah. Hopefully this one fares, hopefully y'all like this one. Hopefully this one fares pretty well. But yeah. Wow, 18 minutes. But yeah. Let's just get right into it.
An epic history.
Let's run this up a bit.
TV, an Epic History TV History March collaboration.
Interesting. That's March in German.
Supported by our sponsor, The Great Courses Plus. In December 1804, in the Cathedral of Notre Dame in Paris, Napoleon Bonaparte crowned himself Emperor of the French.
Oh my gosh. And now, like, last year, or a little bit more than last year, that place is, like, burned down. That's, oh my god, wow. Honestly, I did not realize that it had that amount of significance. Jeez.
Europe had never seen such a sudden and dramatic rise to power. A son of impoverished Corsican nobility to military dictator of France in little more than 10 years.
Yeah.
Revolution.
Dang. He's, like, super young doing all this stuff. He's, like, in his 20s. Like, what were we all doing with our lives, you know what I mean? Like, look at us. We're just wasting away. You know?
And war had cleared Napoleon's path to the throne. War would dominate his 10-year reign. A conflict unprecedented in history.
Oh, what is that guy doing to that old man?
That would leave millions dead and a continent in turmoil.
Yeah. Part 1. Oh yeah, fun fact. The French Empire started in 1804, so this is 1 year after, I guess, Napoleon crowned himself emperor. And also another fun fact about France. The French Second Republic, Vichy France, in World War II, which was a German puppet state in the south, in southern France, they actually lasted longer than the French Second Republic, which is really interesting. Austerlitz. Okay.
8.
Well, okay. I'm not as familiar with Napoleonic maps. Let's see if we can find any mistakes, you know what I mean? Okay. Okay. Okay, this might be a mistake. I'm pretty sure that Denmark and Norway were in, what's it called? And, like, I forgot what it's called. Like some sort of marriage. I forgot what it's called. But they were, like, both sort of the same country. They were Denmark, Norway. But I guess that's later. I guess that happened later than this. And second, wow, I didn't know that Austria already had Veneto and Venice. That's cool. And third, oh, this one actually is a mistake. Okay, yes. You see this little territory right here in like modern day Poland, where my mouse is? That little area that I'm circling was part of Austria, the Austrian Empire. It wasn't part of Russia. This part was not part of Russia until after the Napoleonic Wars, when Russia won. It took this whole chunk. Yeah. What else? I think everything else is correct.
8 months after Napoleon's coronation, The French Empire and its Spanish ally were at war with Britain, and Napoleon had assembled an army of 180,000 men.
Also, I wish I didn't skip so much, you know? Like, I wish I would have talked about, how they conquered the Austrian Netherlands and the regular Netherlands, and how they got all of that land right there. My mouse is the west of the Rhine River, and how they conquered Savoy and Piedmont, Sardinia and Piedmont. That's what it's called.
Along the Channel coast. But
what?
As long as the British Royal Navy ruled the seas,
Stop.
invasion was impossible. But nor
what an interesting little picture.
could
Look
Britain
at that.
challenge France on land. And so British Prime Minister William Pitt tried to build a European coalition against Napoleon, using diplomacy.
Who join our war against Boney? Boney, okay. The Corsican ogre.
And gold. Britain would prove Napoleon's most steadfast enemy, and its press delighted in relentless mockery of the French emperor. Britain and France were old rivals in Europe and overseas. But now, Pitt feared Napoleon's conquests had made France too powerful. The French emperor had to be defeated, and Europe's balance of power restored if there was ever to be lasting peace.
That is an interesting picture right there. So Napoleon is stronger than all of them.
Pitt found willing allies in Europe, among monarchs who despised Napoleon as a product of the French Revolution, a dangerous threat to the existing order. Austria harbored the deepest grievances, having seen her influence in Germany and Italy steadily eroded by French victories.
Oh, they actually got the map right. Shows that Austria has a little piece of Poland.
Final straw came in May 1804, when Napoleon had also crowned himself king.
Oh, and they took over Milan.
Of Italy, in Milan. Austria.
It was really interesting.
Russia, Sweden, and Naples joined Britain in an alliance known as the Third Coalition, and devised an ambitious plan for a series of joint offensives against France. The main attack.
Just looking at this map right here, it looks like they can crush France. Just look at that. And Spain. But obviously that's not how things played out.
It would be made by a combined Austro-Russian army, advancing across the Rhine into France.
It's so interesting. Just 100 years later, like, this whole situation would be completely different.
But Napoleon got word of their plans, and reacted with typical speed and decision. He was determined to strike first, before the Allies could join forces.
Yeah, I know I keep pausing it, and I'm sorry, but, that was Napoleon's thing. He liked to strike first, so he would have the advantage, right? He would basically decide the conditions of the battle, as opposed to the opponents. Who gets, because, when you're on the offensive, you get to decide how you want to do the offensive, especially if it's a surprise offensive.
And ordered his army, now renamed La Grande Armée, to march to the River Rhine. His target was the Austrian army of General Mack, which had made a premature advance against Bavaria, a French ally, and was now dangerously isolated from the other Allied armies. Napoleon ordered Marshal Murat, his famously...
Wow, what an interesting beard. Oh, wow, okay.
Flamboyant cavalry commander, to make feint attacks through the Black Forest, while the rest of his army, advancing at speed, enveloped Mack's army from the north.
Oh no.
That summer, Napoleon's Grande Armée was at its most formidable. well-trained, highly motivated, its regiments at full strength. What's more, it had been newly reorganized according to the corps system, later imitated by virtually every army in the world.
Yeah.
Each corps, commanded by a marshal, was a mini-army of 15 to 30,000 soldiers, with its own
Army with a bunch of mini armies, okay.
infantry, cavalry, artillery, and supporting arms, such as reconnaissance, engineers, and transport. This meant each corps could march and fight for a limited time independently, allowing Napoleon to break with the old doctrine of keeping his army concentrated and advance with his corps widely dispersed. This helped to disguise his real objective and increased movement speed, because the army could advance along multiple roads and live off the land, taking its supplies from scattered villages, rather than relying on slow-moving supply wagons. When the enemy's main force was located, the army could quickly concentrate for battle. This is how Napoleon's army was able to move at a speed that often surprised and disorientated his enemies. Mac didn't realize the danger he was in until it was too late.
Oh no. Dang, from this it looks like they completely outnumber them.
Napoleon's fast-moving corps crossed the Danube behind him and surrounded his army.
Oh my god.
Mac launched a series of poorly coordinated counterattacks.
Mac.
But despite some desperate fighting, the Austrians couldn't break out of the trap. Mac hoped that Kutuzov's Russian army could arrive in time to save him, but the Russians were still 160 miles away.
Oh
and so, at Ulm, on the 19th of October, just 6 weeks into the war, Mac surrendered his army to Napoleon. The French took nearly 60,000 Austrian prisoners, and Napoleon had struck his first devastating blow against the coalition.
Wow, and look at him on his little horse. Look at him, wow. That is...
Russian General Mikhail Kutuzov was an experienced and wary commander, more cautious than Mac.
Okay.
His army was exhausted after its
Let's see what he can
900-mile
do.
march from Russia.
Oh no.
But hearing of the Austrian surrender at Ulm, and knowing he wasn't strong enough to face Napoleon alone, he immediately ordered a retreat. Napoleon pursued.
At least defended Vienna.
The Russians fought several sharp rearguard actions,
Oh no.
but could not save the Austrian capital,
Look, reinforcements.
Vienna.
Oh
The French
no.
occupied.
Whoops. Wait, what?
Vienna, which the French occupied on the 12th of October.
Dang.
Kutuzov slipped away to Olmutz, in today's Czech Republic, where he was joined by reinforcements, as well as Emperor Alexander of Russia and Emperor Francis of Austria in person. Napoleon was furious that Kutuzov had escaped. By now his army was also exhausted and far from home, with winter approaching. He needed to force a decisive battle quickly. Fortunately for him, the overconfident
Oh wow, look at him.
27-year-old Russian emperor sought the glory of battle, overriding the concerns of his veteran commander, General Kutuzov. With the Allied army closing in, Napoleon ordered his corps to rapidly concentrate on a battlefield he had carefully selected, near the town of Austerlitz.
Oh, and that's what the thing is called.
Napoleon oversaw the dispositions of his army late into the night, then grabbed a few hours' sleep beside a campfire. Dawn would mark the first anniversary of his coronation as emperor, and promised a battle that would make or break his young empire.
We'll just finish this war with a thunderclap. Bonaparte.
The The morning of the 2nd of December 1805 was cold and bright with a heavy mist. Two armies of near equal size faced each other across a 7-mile wide battlefield. But the Allies held the high ground of the Pratzen Heights, while French 3rd
Oh yeah, the high ground.
Corps under Marshal Davout was still marching to the
It's over, Napoleon. I have the high ground.
battlefield. Seeing Napoleon's thinly stretched right flank, the Allies planned a large-scale attack from the Pratzen Heights.
Oh, come on.
The French right.
Oh gosh. Come on, Napoleon. Y'all know that.
Before swinging
We all know that you have prepared something.
round to envelop Napoleon's army. Little did they know, Napoleon was counting on his weak right wing luring the Allies into just such a move.
Yes.
Whereupon he would launch his own attack on the Pratzen Heights to cut the Allied army in half.
Look, it's a little circle. Dang,
His bold
Napoleon.
plan relied on his correct prediction of Allied movements, the speedy arrival of Davout's 3rd Corps on his right, and a perfectly timed counterattack. The battle began around 7 a.m. as Austrian troops of General Kienmayer's advance guard.
Imagine being in that position, though. Like, sir, we're gonna need you to go in this position where all of you are probably gonna die. But don't worry, there's like a 10% chance we'll save you. And time.
Guard clashed with French troops defending the village of Telnitz. In the face of overwhelming odds, the French fought stubbornly and bravely. But gradually, they were forced back.
Oh no.
But the Allies,
God, they're so
instead
close.
of carrying out their great enveloping attack, did nothing. The morning mist and the late arrival of orders had led to confusion and delay, and it was another hour before the first 3 Allied columns were on the move.
Dang. The Allies are like too stupid for Napoleon's plan to work. That's just funny. Or too incompetent for his plan to work. It probably still is gonna work. You know what I mean? I just think that's funny.
Fierce fight.
Like even if the Allies were competent, they would still lose because of Napoleon's trap. This is just hilarious. Seriously.
Erupted around Sokolnitz village and castle. Marshal Davout's corps, which had just force-marched 70 miles in 2 days, now arrived to strengthen the French right wing.
Here they are.
Around 9 a.m., his lead infantry
Wow.
brigade appeared suddenly through the mist and retook Telnitz, before being driven back in turn by Austrian hussars.
Oh.
2 more of Davout's brigades reinforced French troops at Sokolnitz. As the mist began to clear, Napoleon saw that, as he'd hoped, the Allied left was moving off the Pratzen Heights, and he ordered Marshal Soult's 4th Corps to begin its attack.
Yes.
To the alarm of Allied commanders, 2 French infantry divisions, until now hidden by the mist, were suddenly seen advancing straight towards the Allied center.
Dang. They are completely outnumbered.
To hurriedly organize the defense of the heights, using troops of 4 columns.
That's not gonna work. Wow. All you're gonna do is delay the inevitable.
2 hours of bloody fighting followed. Musket fire was so rapid and furious that both sides were soon low on ammunition and turned to the bayonet.
Wow.
By 11 a.m., the French, with the advantage in training and discipline,
Oh, but here comes those people.
had secured the heights and driven a deep wedge into the Allied position. To the north, a giant cavalry battle developed. While a Russian force from General Bagration's advance guard captured the village of Bosenitz before it was halted by cannon fire from the Santon Hill. A decisive charge by 6 regiments of French heavy cavalry finally drove back the Allies, allowing Marshal Lannes' 5 Corps to move forward and seize Blasowitz and Krug. Now, Grand Duke Constantine, commanding the Russian Imperial Guard, led forward this last Allied reserve in a desperate bid to reclaim.
Dang, there's like this giant gaping hole in their lines.
Heights.
It's like their only shit. Oh my
A
gosh.
battalion of the French 4th Line Regiment was charged down by Russian Guard cavalry, losing its Eagle standard in bloody fighting. Napoleon, who'd moved up to the heights, sent in his own Guard cavalry. In this grim melee between the elite horsemen of both armies, the French finally prevailed.
Dang, imagine how demoralizing that must be for the Russians. Like, just their best troops versus Napoleon's best troops. Just shows that France is just better than Russia right now. Like, that's basically how the Russians feel right now after them seeing their best troops get annihilated. Wow.
Napoleon had broken the Allied center. Now, to close the trap on the Allied left wing, still locked in heavy fighting around Sokolnitz. Around 2 p.m., Napoleon ordered 4 divisions.
Oh my gosh.
Swing south and cut off their retreat.
Why didn't these, troops over here didn't see it before? Like, they didn't even try to move away. Well, I guess there was some time for them to move. You know, there's like a road right there. Like, oh my gosh, they were just stuck there battling the whole time. Meanwhile, their army is cut in half. What are they doing? Still stuck there. What are they gonna... now they're gonna die.
Buxhouden, commanding the Allied left.
This area was also...
Only now saw the danger he was in.
Now? Really?
Attacked from 3 sides,
there's no way they can't go.
Only escape was south.
Wow.
Many of his troops were forced to flee across frozen ponds. French artillery opened fire, trying to smash the ice with their cannonballs.
Dang.
About 200 men and dozens of horses drowned in the freezing water. But not the many thousands of Napoleon's propaganda.
I don't know how many people were in that little encirclement.
The French emperor had won a brilliant victory. His army had taken more than 10,000 prisoners and captured 45 enemy standards.
Oh, well, just told me. That is crazy.
Thousands of dead and wounded of all sides littered the battlefield. Many left untended.
Look at that. Look at those numbers. Literally, like, about 6 to 1. Dead. French versus Allies.
For days. The Battle of the Three Emperors, as it became known, was a crushing blow to the Third Coalition. As Russian forces retreated back to Russia, Francis I of Austria was forced to accept a humiliating settlement with France, agreeing to pay a 40 million franc indemnity and give up more territory.
I thought Napoleon had Dalmatia and Istria. I thought Napoleon I guess maybe they just occupied it. And he was actually... Okay. This is confusing. I roll to Bavaria. No, I don't think that's necessarily... I'm pretty sure... I'm pretty sure that, like... South Tyrol, like, a little bit of it was given to the King of Italy, like the ethnically Italian area.
In exchange for peace. But meanwhile, news had reached Napoleon of a disastrous Franco-Spanish defeat at sea.
Oh, yeah, this is a very famous battle. Because this basically marked, like, seriously, France's navy almost never recovers from this. And it just basically, secures Britain as the dominant, sea power of the world.
Off Cape Trafalgar, British Admiral Lord Nelson, at the cost of his own life, had masterminded a victory so complete that it ensured British naval dominance, not just for the rest of the war, but for the next 100 years.
Yeah, until the United States got a better navy. USA. USA. Yeah.
Britain,
Take that,
master
Britain.
of the sea. Napoleon, unbeatable on land.
Yeah, this is literally the same thing with the German Empire and Nazi Germany, and Britain and World War One and Two. It's crazy. It's like this pattern just continues.
The whale and the elephant, neither able to challenge the other in its own domain. When William Pitt received news of Napoleon's victory at Austerlitz,
Why does he look like that?
he's supposed to have said, "Roll up that map of Europe. It will not be wanted these 10 years." A month later, Pitt was dead. But his warning that Europe faced another 10 years of war and upheaval was to prove prophetic. Napoleon Bonaparte was the ultimate disruptor of European history.
Yeah.
One man who transformed a continent.
He literally laid the groundwork for Germany to become a country. And obviously, this is too complex of a topic for me to say right now. It's such a very important thing. He spread democracy through Europe. Sort of. He sort of laid the groundwork for the spread of democracy. He had such a freaking huge influence. He created the German identity. To a certain extent, he created the Italian identity. With the King of Italy being created. Seriously, freaking Napoleon over here. I think it's actually a good thing that he came to power and did all these things. Like, who knows what Europe would be like today if that wouldn't have happened? Would World War One have even happened? Or would it have happened a different way? So interesting to think about.
If you want to find out more, why not try a free trial?
No, but yeah. If you, yeah, that's the end of the video. Thank you all for watching. That was quite interesting. I really enjoyed that. Tomorrow we'll be looking at Napoleon smashes Prussia. Oh no, Prussia. Oh gosh. The country so well known for its powerful army is going to be beaten by Napoleon because their tactics are really outdated and they couldn't get with the times. They weren't hip with the kids, if you know what I mean. I'm sorry. Yeah, I'm gonna end this now. Hello everyone, if you enjoyed this video, make sure to like it and subscribe to my channel. And turn on the notification bell thingy. And if you didn't, then make sure to leave a thumbs down. But yeah, that would be greatly appreciated. And while you're at it, go ahead and watch my other videos. They're probably just as good, then if not better than this one right now. Except for my oldest videos, don't watch those. And, subscribe to these people down here, my fellow sergeants. They're other YouTubers that I either know or I have in high regards. Yeah, even my cat agrees. So, thank you for watching, and have a great day.